traders and friends, market participants and enthusiasts right around the world. Thanks a lot for joining me on this Thursday afternoon market recap. We have seen, of course, the US markets continue their bullish trajectory to the upside. I mean, this has been, again, just another fantastic trend continuation. Pay attention to what is happening on my screen. Here was the breakout trigger for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It was positioned at 24,909. This has been the most recent bullish breakout entry. This has helped a lot of people jump into the diamonds, for instance. The same is true for the SPYs and the Qs as well for the NASDAQ. So when we're looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, Monday through Wednesday, it began to slow down. However, today, we have seen a very strong continuation to the upside. We closed up another 205 points for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And if I go to the weekly chart, you can see for yourself, as at the close, we still have another relatively strong long day Morobozu type candlestick. It isn't as pronounced as the first week of trading for 2018. But it is still looking as though this market is giving us no signals whatsoever that it is looking to slow down more or less immediately. Now, what is important to sort of point out to you right now is that personally for me, I'm using this figure up here, or this red line, as you can see on my screen, as my target for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. At the moment, this is coming in at about 26,309. Now, the reason for this is because in the past, this has been a decelerating fan line, working off different trends. I was speaking about this over the weekend in Pro. I needed to bring up the monthly chart and go back to the beginning of the bull market in the year, or at the very early instance of 2009. And really what has happened is that this was a past trend line, a bullish trend line, which has decelerated away from the first sort of upward thrust that we saw off the V bottom in 2009. And now what happens essentially is that once we break this line as support, okay, in the past, a couple of years ago, when we come back up and rally back up into this level, it should act as resistance. And, you know, a long time ago, I thought we wouldn't actually print and move up as high as what we're currently trading at. It has been a tremendously profitable time for a lot of people, but we are getting relatively close to this. And this is a very important, very large, very pronounced sort of resistance area, which is coming in at 26,309. So I still think we have about 1,000 points to rally on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It doesn't mean that we'll get there next week or the following week. It may actually see a pullback before we get that final sort of thrust up to this key level. But essentially what is going on at the moment is that with our individual trades, a lot of these are just trending bullish. So I haven't had to really recap a lot of individual trades for the first half of this week. The reason for that is because the trend itself is just continuing to run. And this is really the best sort of environment or temperament of a swing trading financial market, at least, is to allow the market a little bit of space and time, and for it to just continue the net advance to the upside when we are in a pronounced and definitive bullish upward trend as we are at the moment. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average is very healthy, very strong. You can see again the S&P 500 tried to slow really Tuesday through Wednesday. It was looking as though we might have been able to actually see a little bit of a pullback into the rising exponential moving averages. Didn't happen. During today's session, up close to 20 points, another strong breakout. Most recent trigger, 2,698 on the SPYs. But if you go back in time, and really this is what we've been speaking about for a number of months, is that really these breakout entries are down here at 2,494. And at this time, again, we were speaking about why it's important to backdate, or at least buy additional time for those contracts, the derivative contracts, the options that you're looking to enter into if this is going to be a true breakout. And as such, and through to the current juncture, it is still proving to actually be that. Now, the final market is the NASDAQ. No real difference here between the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. We are up 75 points at the close on Thursday. All right, this is the weekly look, of course. If I go into the daily time frame, very similar picture. It was looking as though we were setting up some form of an evening star reversal. It wasn't the case. All right, we saw the strong bounce once again during today's session. But all in all, this is looking like a trend which just simply doesn't want to slow down. Now, if we go into the market, or at least into the individual share selection, first of all, I wanted to speak about Netflix. Netflix today hit our target, $215.20. The breakout trigger was at $199.87. This was a very quick $15 trade. We never hit our stop over here going into the week. We sort of just slowed down for the first three sessions. The acceleration happened today. $215.20. That target has been hit. So a fantastic trade there on Netflix. We've got IBM also, which hasn't actually hit, or at least been stopped out for a profit. We are still continuing. So the breakout entry was 158. We're up at 164 at the moment. We are very close to our 165 target. So another pretty healthy trade there. Netflix, IBM doing fantastically well. Google, this has been one of my favorite trades, 1,070. And then also 1,088. You can see at the moment we're trading at 1,112. This dotted line means that although it is a bullish trade setup, we don't need to place it, or at least personally I'm not placing it. The reason for that is because we've got these lower entries down here that we should have been in. You don't really want to chase after something that has really accelerated as far as what Google has done in such a short period of time. Okay, but a very healthy, a very profitable trade there on Google. Now, this is coming as a little bit of a surprise to me. CVX is also extremely profitable, 120, 121, 122. 126 was the most recent breakout. This started on the first session of January. Again, a dotted line here. I didn't have the 129 entry open, but as you can see during today's session, we closed up almost $4. So this is just continuing to accelerate and just build those profits. We're trading at 132. It was less than a month ago when we were down at 120.97. So CVX is making us very, very happy. One thing you need to pay attention to is earnings. I'll be speaking about earnings as at Pro or during Pro tomorrow as well. We've got COP as well, breaking out above 55.08 to begin with. I mean, this started at 51.23, but 56.90 and 57.30 are up at 59.18. So pretty decent trade there. Now, Caterpillar, I'm personally not in this anymore. Liquidated the trade at 158.39, but as you can see, it just simply doesn't want to slow down. We're trading at 169, also earnings coming up. So if you are in any of these trades, pay attention to when earnings is, because you need to liquidate these trades prior to earnings. We've got Baidu as well, which got very close to actually triggering on Tuesday, 255.02. I believe the high of this was 254.99. As you can see, pay attention to this figure. If I hover my mouse over this candlestick just here, 254.99. So it was about 6 cents from actually getting triggered into it. This is looking like a bull flag continuation. We've got a bullish trade from 238.13. But at the moment, it's just sort of resting, consolidating around this resistance area at 250. This could actually pull back one more time and then present another higher low, or we could see just a very violent sort of breakout above 255. Doesn't really bother me which direction Baidu chooses to go on the very sort of molecular level. What does, however, what is most important is that we continue to move in that intermediate and macro trend direction higher. Now, here's Boeing Airlines above 301.66. This is also just accelerating today, up another $7.86. This is really quite incredible. Some of these trades we've had, 279 was also a breakout entry, 267. So take your pick on any of these trades. They are all performing tremendously well. Now again, Amazon, a bidirectional trade setup. It broke above 1,206. Here we are, we're trading at 1,276. I didn't add to the position at this dotted line. Personally, I was happy with the position here. But as you can see, just a very strong acceleration, especially during today on Thursday, $22.35. And to conclude with, the one stock, all right, which really hasn't done all that much for us for a number of months now, is Apple. And it's really quite rare for Apple not to really give us any tradable opportunity. So this is quite exciting. Apple's closed the gap. It's holding just below its resistance area. Pay attention to 177.66. I've been speaking about this for quite some time. I believe it's going to break out as long as the macro direction of these markets remains favorable. But you can see for yourself the ADX is reset. The CCI is relatively close to breaking 100. We're holding above the long-term simples. Exponentials are moving relatively sideways, so that's not really helping us whatsoever. But across the board, if we can sort of negate this bearish divergence, which is setting up, if we can get a definitive break above here, see the ADX turn up in the CCI, post above positive 100, well then Apple might follow suit and produce some pretty impressive returns and results, quite like the number of stocks that I've already recapped in today's video. So on that note, everyone, I don't really want to talk for all that much longer. I think we've gone through everything we need to for this week. It has been another very strong sort of secondary week for 2018, really building off the gains that we saw in the first week. It's been a very fast start to the year 2018, and I look forward to speaking to you over the weekend in that analysis class. All the best, everyone. It's James signing off on behalf of Pivot Point Trading. Farewell.